Hello. I'm coming back on here because I really want to share my story and all different parts of my story. But right now, um, what's really calling me is to speak about my health journey, which I feel like I've spoke about a bit on Instagram, but I want to get more into it because I've spoken about it. I thought I was going to be posting more about it, and now I feel like more called to speak about it and like what's happening and just different parts of my journey. So there's going to be different clippets, and I'm just flowing to see with whatever wants to come out at the time it needs to come out instead of telling myself it has to come out a certain way. But with the mold, it's something I've been dealing with for at least a year now, if not more. Um, and I was taking supplements and I was seeing a functional medicine practitioner, and I was taking all these like really freaking expensive supplements from the US. Really expensive supplements. I was like, oh, this is gonna heal me. And like I was taking a bunch. I'm like, I need a bunch and this and that. But I was recognizing it wasn't working. It wasn't working. Then I moved abroad and I was like, oh, I really need those supplements. And I was so attached to those supplements, believing that, oh, only the US has the greatest things and I need those products and there needs to be those expensive products. And I was so attached to them. And they came and I started taking them and they didn't work. So clearly that wasn't the answer, but I realized my attachment to these supplements. And then I traveled to Morocco for a bit, um, which that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But after being there, I came back. I was taking supplements, and I'm like, I'm not feeling good. I'm really not feeling good. I'm exhausted. I'm bloated. Anything I'm eating, I had a reaction to. Anything. My body was really just hungry all the time, and I was wanting fat constantly. And I'm like, what is happening? So then it was actually, I have my journal here, on August 6th that I wrote to the universe. I'm like, the mold, the parasites. I knew I had mold, but the parasites, one of my good friends that I met here, she kept telling me, she's like, Michelle, I have parasites. And I was like, no, I don't. I just have mold. I just have mold. No parasites. And I didn't want to believe her. And then after I came back from Morocco, I was like, oh no, like she was telling me something and this was a sign and I wasn't accepting the sign. And I'm like, oh no, I believe I have parasites. So then at this point, I'm just like, I need help. Like, I really need help and I need it here and I want to see somebody here because I like just need to get better. So in my notebook, I said, the mold, the parasites, I need to heal them. Um, Guide me towards the right practitioner, test, supplements, energy work to fully heal my body. I trust that everything I need to do will be given to me very quickly. I wrote this on August 6th at night, going to bed because I just had enough of how I was feeling. And I'm like, you know what? My entire life has been guided for the last couple years. Well, it's been guided my entire life, but in the last 2 years is when I fully like gave in and fully just put trust into the universe. Actually, it wasn't that easy to just let go and surrender. Um, just recently, I've been really trusting and flowing a lot more. So on August 7th, I got up in the morning, did whatever I do, got myself ready, and I'm like, I really need to go to this organic food store. Like, I really wanted to get some chlorella, um, and I ended up going to this herbal store, and I'm there, I'm getting my chlorella, and I get it, and I look at the woman, and um, I ask her, I'm like, in Spanish, I'm like, ¿conoces una persona que puede me ayuda? Like un doctor, a practitioner, the functional medicine. And she responds to me like, why? Like, what's up? I'm like, I have mold. I maybe have parasites. I'm like, I really need help. And like, she takes me through her store and like, she opens up this like random little, I thought it was a closet. She like opens it up and we go inside and it's not a closet, it's her consult room. And she gets onto her computer and like opens up this picture, and it's a blood sample, and on it's someone's blood sample, and she was showing me, she's like, look, this is someone's blood sample. This person has mold, this person has parasites, and like she showed me, and I'm like, oh my god. She's like, I can help you. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like literally in that moment, I like sat there and I'm like, I was in awe. I was like, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. Like, that was quick. So I ended up seeing her, and I went to go see her, and she took like a little blood sample off my finger and she put it underneath her microscope. And oh my God, what did I see? I have mold, which was confirmed by functional medicine testing while I was in the States. But it also showed that I have parasites. I have what's called graphene. It's a toxin, an environmental toxin. Then I had like microplastics. Um, I had fats that parasites were feeding off of. The parasites were also feeding off of the mold. I was just like, oh my goodness, that is a lot. And it's like I saw it from my own eyes. She also did like bioresonance testing to show me what else is going on in my body and where my nutrients are low and stuff. And she explained everything so intricately. But what really, really sparked me was her passion for all of this. Like I thought, really based on how in the US I was seen by practitioners, by Western medicine practitioners and stuff, that she said she would take me and it would be a consult. But like she literally took me in, and it's like time kind of disappeared. And like we just got immersed in my blood sample and like looking at it all and seeing like moving it around and being like, oh my god, there's another parasite, and oh my goodness, there's mold, and here's this toxin and all of that. And I was like, I was immersed in it because I was so thankful for meeting somebody that like was so passionate about what they do and really wanted to help me. um so I spent probably like 2.5 hours with her and just talking. She saw I was getting overwhelmed by like, oh, this may take a while to heal and stuff. And she told me, Michelle, it's okay. I'm here to help you. Like, I want to help you. And another thing she really affirmed is because I brought all my supplements from the ones that I had from the US. And she looked at me and she's like, how much did this all cost you? I said, close to $1,000. And she's like, I can help you for way less than that. She's like, there's no point of spending that much money. There's no point. She's like, I have such great supplements and I can help you. And I was just so thankful and grateful to her. So thankful. Somebody that wants to help, somebody that like she showed me the supplements, but she wasn't like, oh, you have to buy this. And she allowed me to like listen to myself and take back my own power and understand like she's here to help me, but I'm not forced to be like, oh yeah, buy this, buy that and stuff. Where I'm getting at is it's not based on this consumerism and capitalism mindset. I feel like when I was in the States, I was working for a functional medicine practitioner, and I realized that my time while working there was great. I was learning the business side of a medical practice and stuff, but I realized that behind the scenes of being this functional medicine practitioner, what was the intention of it? I felt like the intention was more to make the money instead of to really heal the clients and heal the patients, because it was based on supplements. How many supplements can, like, is this person renewing their subscription? Why is this person not renewing their subscription? That type of mindset. And I realized um, in uh, in May when I quit that job that I was unable to continue doing that because the intention behind it was misaligned with the intention that I was working with. And I realized that in the US, at least from my perspective, I'm saying from my experience, from looking back at how I lived in the US, with Western medical practice, it's getting a person in and out the door because we're basing things off of symptoms. And if you don't have those things, then everything should be fine. I've been there. Last year I went there. I went to my primary care provider who, one second. I went to my primary care provider who I literally was not doing well. Not doing well. Absolutely. This was back in October. And I told her I wasn't doing well. So she ran all these blood tests and such and looked at all of them, and she's like, it's normal. They're normal. I literally like sat there looking at her, and I'm like I'm just still in shock thinking back at the experience, because I'm like, okay, they're normal. I'm like, I don't feel normal. I'm like, I don't feel like myself. I'm like, and I was so numb. And she's like, oh, maybe you just need to go on medicine. Maybe you just need to go on medicine. And she wants to put me on like psychiatric medication. I'm like, I don't want to go on medicine. I'm like, that's not going to heal the root cause of whatever's going on. She's like, yeah, it is. She's like, sometimes people need to be on medicine for the rest of their lives. I'm like, that's just dulling the symptom. I was angry. I was so angry at that point. And I told her, I'm like, no, that's just dulling the symptoms. And at this point, I was in a lot of rage. I was in a lot of anger, frustration. Part of me wanted to give up, but I'm like, no, I haven't got this far to just give up. And she was like, yeah, maybe you just need to go on medication and stuff. I'm like, no, that's not going to solve the problem. So then after that, I was like, what is going on? I don't even know. I don't know what the next steps are. And that's when I went to my primary care provider. I went to a psychiatric nurse practitioner. I went to so many other different like psychiatrists. And I was like, can somebody please help me? I thought I had ADHD. So I was put on, my body did not want to take medicine, but I had no other idea of what to do. Like my body was completely resisting it, but I'm like, okay, this is the only thing I know. So I went and I was put on stimulants. I tried all the stimulants. I've tried Ritalin, Adderall, Vyvanse, Concerta, non-stimulants, guanfacine, whatever you name it. I've been on those ADHD meds. Then I was realizing I was having like really high highs. I'm like, whoa, life is great. But the crashes were absolutely awful. They're absolutely awful. So I ended up actually going to like an outpatient mental health center. Like I was checking myself in every day because I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then they said I was diagnosed bipolar. And I was like, no, that's not true. I just know that whatever I went through over the last 2 years was not for nothing. And I know there's something more to like what I've been through. And I was like, no, I'm like, stimulants are just not it. So then I literally was like, universe, what's next? So I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna go on antidepressants. So then I was put on antidepressants, and I tried a couple of them. This all happened like very quickly. And I recognized this isn't it either. And I recognized that when I tried to pick up one of my antidepressants from the pharmacy. I literally went into the pharmacy and I was gonna go pick it up, and they're like, it's not covered by insurance. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just pay for it out of pocket because I needed something at that point. Like, you can't pay out of your pocket. Insurance says you can't pay out of pocket. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, what is going on right now? Like, what is the sign? Like, I literally left the pharmacy. Oh, before I left the pharmacy, I actually told the pharmacist, I'm like, I want to die. And he was like, sorry, I can't help you. I was like, did you hear me? I want to die. He's like, and didn't say anything. So I left and I stood in the parking lot. I was like, God, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to do anymore at this point. I was done. I was like, I don't know. And in that moment, I went to a friend's gathering, and it was like an authentic relating circle that I went to, and I was already late. And I go in and I sit down at this first group, and I sit there and I'm like so angry and frustrated, and I don't know what's going on. And one of my friends, well, first of all, I expressed all my anger and what was going on. I'm like, I'm so angry at the Western medical system, like they don't care and stuff. And she sat down in front of me and said, Michelle, I'm the Western medical system. Tell me everything you want to tell me. And I started like screaming and yelling and expressing all my anger out at her. And her response as the Western medical system was, you're just a number. Oh my goodness, that absolutely made me super, super duper angry. So angry. But afterwards, she's like, Michelle, you've done a lot of spirit medicines. When I was abroad and traveling, I've done a lot of plant medicines. I've done ayahuasca, bufo, kambo, San Pedro, mushrooms, all for like healing purposes. And she's like, Michelle, those are all taking you out of your body. What you need to do is you need to come back into your body to feel instead of constantly being taken out. I was like, okay, well, what's going to help me with that? She's like, you need to try Iboga. And I'm like, what is, well, I didn't say what is Iboga because I already knew about Iboga. The year before that, Iboga like started to like come into my mind, and I was like, I wonder about it and whatnot and such. And like, okay, well, I don't know where I'm going to get this Iboga, but I just trusted, even though I was in the most pain of my life ever, 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 ever. So I put it out into the universe that I'm looking for Iboga. Within the next couple of days, I met another person who had Iboga and offered me a small microdosing kit. I started microdosing, and I was like, I recognized the difference in like how I felt and such. I was like, whoa, okay. And there's just so many things that I'm like, oh my God. But I started microdosing and stuff, and some people tried to tell me like, no, this isn't the way, this isn't it and stuff. And I was like, I almost gave in to everyone's fears. I'm like, oh, maybe people are right, this isn't it. But I continued to do that. And that was part of my journey, which I'll talk about a little bit more, but I do want to get back onto like why I came onto this in the first place, because at the same time I also went to go see a functional medicine doctor. And I saw him, and first of all, the visit to see a functional medicine doctor was around, I believe it was like $350 to $400 for an hour and a half. And then he was like, yeah, we have to do these tests and these tests. And we did a mycotoxin test, and that's around like $350. And then I did like some neurotransmitter testing, so that's another couple $100. So I did that, and I got that tested. That's when I found out about the mold. And then I bought all these like supplements in the US. And what I've come to realize, actually, after my entire journey, even meeting like the practitioner that I'm working with currently in Spain, is that in the US, to be healthy means to be wealthy, or you have to be wealthy in order to be healthy. it seems like functional medicine is not there to help people that don't have that money. And it creates this hierarchy and continues to create this hierarchy because everyone's functioning from, oh, I need to make money. And their intention is, I need to make money, instead of their intention being, I want to help people. And I like, that's just come to like my frustration right now, because I even spoke with another person I know, and they question, they're also from the States, and question like, okay, yeah, well, we all have to make a living, and it's all based on, how, like, we still have to survive and stuff. So it makes sense to like think about money and how much to charge and whatnot. Yes, I do believe in that. Yes. But the intention should not be to make money. The intention should be to help people. And I recognize this. Like, I even had a lesson when I was traveling in Morocco. I went to Marrakesh, and in Marrakesh, there's a square. And in that square, there's one juice stand next to another, next to another, and next to another, next to another. And it's the same thing. They're selling the same exact thing. And then there's a food stand, and another one right next to it, and another one, another one, and another one. And they're selling the same thing. And then there's a nuts and herbs and spices stand, and there's one, and there's another one right next to it, and there's another one, and there's another one. And they're all right next to it. And I'm like, the people I was traveling with, I was like, guys, this makes no sense. This makes no sense from a marketing perspective, from a sales perspective. Why the hell would you set up your stand right next to your competitor, and then next to the next competitor, and the next one, and the next one, and like, you guys are all selling your products like one right next to another, hoping to make money? And then I was traveling back to Spain, and I met this guy, and I brought this concept up again. And he said, well, the reason they do that is because they believe that Allah will give you exactly what you need. So that be, if that client comes to you to buy that juice, they come to you. But if they go to that other person, they go to that other person because they're meant to go there. If whoever's meant to come to you comes to you, yes, you need to take action sometimes, but it should never be super forced. And they constantly believe in that Allah will give you everything that you need in your life, as long as you trust and as long as you believe. Then when I went to also the practitioner that I'm working with, I got the testing done. The next day I went to go buy supplements, and I just like going to that store because it's like really cute and like organic and very natural food stuff. And I went in there another time, and she told me, she's like, Michelle, you're scared. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes I have this fear sometimes that like comes up. And she's like, you have to trust. You need to trust everything is going to work out. And I really enjoyed her reflection to me again, because I've trusted over the last 2 years. I've trusted that everything's going to work out. That was another reminder. Continue to trust, like, my entire life, the way it unfolded and where I am today is because I've put trust into my path. But it's about surrendering more and surrendering more and surrendering more and facing those fears. Because if you don't, you're just constantly living by fear. So when I started reflecting all of this, and in terms of like health and the US and consumerism and capitalism and all that, people are mainly driven by fear, driven by greediness. They're always going to want more instead of already seeing what they have. But it's about needing to change that into a different intention. Because if you continue to drive by, oh, I need all this money, and I need all this money and stuff, you're never going to get what you want. Because if it's just driven by money, it's like there's a fear of money. It's like, oh, I need all this money, but what are you going to do with it all? Yes, Money's great. But what is another intention? Is that really what's coming from the heart? You'll constantly be unfulfilled. So, yeah, that was a lot in this little session, but a lot of that needed to come out because I recognized the intention behind things is really important. And once you step back and start realizing these things and not be acting out of fear and really have a true intention that's out of love, truly rooted out of love, life changes a lot. So stay tuned for those. I know I've shared a bit about my story, but I'm going to continue to share more about my story. Like I said, it'll come in pieces, bits here and there, however it wants to flow. And I'm going to continue to unfold about all these different parts of it. I'm just super excited to get into it. But sending you all lots of love, lots of support, and talk to you soon.